The conflict between the Wagnerians and the regular troops of the Russian Defense Ministry is escalating. Prigozhin, whose private military company is trying to withdraw from Bakhmut, announced the mining of the tracks and the shelling of the Wagner PMC's column by the Russian army. It was also announced that a lieutenant colonel of the armed forces of the Russian Federation was captured in the Donetsk region. Is this a game for the public or a real split in the ranks of the aggressor? Why did a captured Russian officer declare a personal dislike for the Wagner PMCs? The probable motives and foundations of the Bakhmut conflict were explained in the TSN commentary by military analyst, co-chairman of the GI Pravo Delo Dmitry Snegirev. At one time, there was a statement by Wagner about the transfer of Bakhmut's flanks in the Donetsk region to the armed forces of Russia. We were interested in this information. The analytical department of the Right Cause began to check it, and it turned out that this lieutenant colonel represents the 72nd Brigade. Its formation in the city of Orenburg dates back to August 2022. Then the governor of this Russian region, not from a great mind, reported that as many as 60 citizens agreed to join the ranks of the brigade, Snegirev notes. It should be noted that the standard staffing of the brigade provides for 4,500 fighters. But when checking the information, analysts found that at the time of the participation of this so-called brigade in the battles on the territory of the Kharkiv region, its real personnel did not exceed 1 BTGR, that is, up to 801,000 soldiers. That is, in fact, the brigade was formed from dead souls. There was a write-off of logistics and financial rewards. After unsuccessful battles in the Kharkiv region, this Russian unit was transferred to the flank near Bakhmut. And Prigozhin's message about the transfer of the flanks is no coincidence. Thus, he tried to cover up the corruption schemes of his current first deputy. At that time, he was the first deputy minister of defense of the Russian Federation. We are talking about Colonel General Mizintsev, the expert comments. Thus, according to the analyst, Prigozhin deliberately put one of the least combat-ready units of the occupation forces under attack. We have passed this information to the intelligence community. The result was the successful nature of the counter-offensive actions of the armed forces of Ukraine on this flank, on the position of this Russian brigade. It was actually smashed. And most importantly, when we went on the air, reporting information about this brigade to the public, literally the next day the Russian terrorist Gherkin confirmed it. He admitted that the personnel of this brigade consisted of 2 companies, that is, a maximum of 250-300 people, says Snegirev. The death of a significant part of the subordinates, according to the Observer, prompted the lieutenant colonel of the 72nd Brigade of the Armed Forces of the Russian Federation to take personal revenge, shooting the column of the Wagner PMCs and mining its escape routes. But the main thing that we need to understand is the nature of the formation of armed units of the Russian army. This episode shows that most of them are formed from so-called dead souls, the expert states. As for the conflict between the Wagner PMCs and the regular troops of the Russian Defense Ministry, according to the analyst, this is another element of the underhand game of the Russian special services, as a result of which Minister Shoigu is under attack. Revelations of corruption schemes of his inner circle and information about real estate on Rublevka of representatives of the Ministry of Defense are spreading in Rozhmy. It is no coincidence that a strike of unknown drones fell on this particular neighborhood of Moscow. The Russian dictator is looking for a scapegoat for military defeats in Ukraine. And, most likely, it will be Sergei Shoigu, the expert summarizes.